Hey everyone, back to you into today's video. Going to have a look at whether it's 8 to 10 days in today's video, and this takes us to around the 24th of April. So, heading up towards that critical sort of final week to 10 days of the month. There's always been the suggestion that after a very warm and dry sort of first half to April, the second half could turn significantly colder and maybe more unsettled as well. We'll have a look and see how that's shaping up on the latest charts in a moment. I'll tell you now, there is still a lot of uncertainty about what happens in the final week to 10 days of April. So have a look at the charts on that in a moment. Before you get on that, just say about the ads. There's links to articles on all of the pages at GazOpis.com. Have a browse through the widgets. The widget on the home pages, it's just underneath the weather video. Have a browse through. And please click if there's any articles that you're interested in. You'll be able to go and read those articles. It's just you're going from GazOpis to where the article is. We get a revenue fee on what you're doing. Thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads on those pages. They open out within the content. So they're very short, only around 20-30 seconds, proper TV commercial length. So have a look at those and see what you make of them. And by doing that again, you're helping to pay for the website. So thanks so much for getting involved. Thanks for doing that. Very warm weather coming up today and tomorrow down in the south. So we're going to start there. Here's today's predicted temperatures from the GFS model. Now, you notice it's not particularly warm for Scotland, Northern Ireland, and much of Northern England, and in these areas you are going to miss out on this little burst of summer today and tomorrow. So temperatures there just around the April average, somewhere around 10, 11, 12, 13 degrees. It's down in the south that we've got the warmth, really for central southern parts of England and Wales, where it does extend as far north as, say, the North Midlands and North Wales, but the warmest temperatures down in the south. Now, this is suggesting temperatures of around 19 or 20 degrees, but we can probably increase that a bit more, actually, dependent on sunshine. If you have southern cloud, it's going to limit the temperature potential. But in good sunny spells, temperatures could get up to around 22 or 23 today. 23 is around 73 Fahrenheit, and that's sort of the average maximum temperature down in the south in July. So we're doing really well with the temperatures today, and it gets even warmer tomorrow. Tomorrow is the peak of it. Down across the south, this suggests temperatures 22 or 23, but I think we can increase that a little bit more, possibly to 25 at the outside. Again, very dependent on sunshine. 25 is 77 Fahrenheit, and that's above average as a maximum temperature, even in July and August. You're doing very well. Even in July and August, you get 25 Celsius, 77 Fahrenheit. But notice how cool it is up in north. It actually turns colder tomorrow in the north. So a huge temperature differential here across the country. Scotland being indicated to be in single digits, just 7, 8, 9 degrees. Whereas in the south, not on the coast probably, because I think you're going to be plagued by mist and fog actually on the coast, but a little way inland, you're up to 25, so a huge temperature differential there across the country. You would normally expect that to produce quite a lot of rain actually on the divide between the warmth and the chilly temperatures, which is actually across northern England tomorrow. On the divide, you would not expect that to produce a lot of heavy rain. Doesn't look like it's going to, funnily enough. There will be a band of cloud and sort of patchy, showery rain moving southwards tomorrow, but nothing particularly significant. That's quite unusual with such a big temperature differential. When you get that temperature differential, that normally is the fuel to the fire, if you like, to produce quite a bit of wet weather, possibly even thunder. Normally can't be ruled out with that sort of temperature difference across the country, but doesn't look like we're going to get that on this occasion. And that cool ray does start to move southwards then through the rest of the week. So on Thursday, we're still up to around 2021 in the south, so the warmth is still clinging on to the far south, but notice temperatures into the teens across most parts of the country, pretty low for Scotland. And then by Friday, it's significantly colder everywhere, really, with temperatures just back to average, somewhere around 14 degrees in the south, and around 9, 10, 11 up in the north. And that continues then into the weekend. Temperatures in the low to mid-teens at best and through into the start of next week as well. So once we get this warmth out of the way, tomorrow, temperatures will be returning much closer to the average. Right, let's have a look at the 500 millibar height anomalies for the next 8 to 10 days' time. We've got the ECMWF here on the left. The GFS is over on the right. 500 millibars, 18,000 feet is an area in the atmosphere where high pressure, low pressure being moved around by a jet stream running above. Red is extrapolating to high pressure, and blue is extrapolating to low pressure. And these are the mean flow charts for the next 8 to 10 days' time. So as I say, this takes us up to around the 24th of April. What's very evident here is that we've got a large area of red sitting around, and ever so slightly to the north of the country by the time we get through into the last week of April. So this is causing all the problems really about what's going to happen in the last week. It's a blocking area of high pressure, and it's very dependent on how north this gets as to what happens. If it gets up towards Greenland, what we're going to do is extend, or what we're probably going to do is extend this trough, which you can see in the Atlantic, underneath the ridge into the UK. That will turn it a lot more unsettled. It would also be pretty cool as well, because the winds will be coming in from the north or northeasterly type direction. But if this high pressure remains sort of over the top of the country, or very close to the country, as it is in this particular position that we've seen on these 500 millibar heights, it's going to sort of delay the progress of this trough riding underneath it. So we've got to wait and see a little bit longer exactly what's happening for this last week of the month. As I said, it's going to be very dependent on how far north we can push this ridge. Notice again was the pattern all winter on and off. We've got this deep trough into the north and the east of the United States. So more cool temperatures likely to be coming through up there. The GFS temperature and precipitation ensemble show the uncertainty really from around the 20th of April, from the last week of the month, last week to 10 days. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average, so we're significantly above average right now. And then we get that slide in the temperatures taking us up to the weekend. So after the peak in temperatures tomorrow, the temperatures then slide down back towards the 30-year average as we get through to weekend. That's all okay. Let's go through to next week, though. This is the 20th of April just here, Monday the 20th, and that's when the split really starts in the ensemble. So we've got several members in the ensemble that go significantly under the 30-year average, go really cold for the time of year, but several members of the ensemble are keeping it very warm, very mild for the time of year. They return it to very mild temperatures, I should say. So the white line, which is sort of the ensemble mean, is actually around the 30-year average, but you can't read too much into that. It's only doing that because around half the members of the ensemble are going very chilly and half are going quite warm again. So the upshot of that is that the ensemble mean sort of sticks around the 30-year average, but there's so much scatter there for the final week to 10 days, but I can't really read too much into it. The precipitation spikes, not really a great deal going on there, and until we get to the very end of the month. Anyway, this is 27th of April just here. I mean, it looks like it turns better, but of course that's right at the extended range of the ensemble, and also got all that scatter, so don't read anything into that. Overall, it does look relatively dry, really, continuing up to at least around the 20th, 21st of April, and then we've got to wait and see what happens. The temperature anomaly, surprisingly, isn't coming out that far from average after the warmth today and tomorrow. You would expect this to be a bit warmer. That's probably because it's only a couple of days of very warm temperatures, and then we're near a normal, and could be some chilly nights. But overall, not deviating that far from the average for the temperature anomaly from the 14th to the 22nd of April. Little bit above average still, but nothing particularly dramatic going on there. And in terms of precipitation, anomaly, generally it's a drier than average period coming through, as we saw on the ensemble. So let's have a look at the charts. Here we are for Saturday. The high pressure is still dominating the weather on Saturday, but it's within a cooler air mass. So we get the warmth today, tomorrow, then that weak cold front comes south across the country, switches the flow around the high pressure, going into high pressure, to more of a northerly to northeasterly direction, and that drags in that cooler air as the warmth sort of slips away to the south. So the high pressure is dominating as we go into a weekend, but it is cooler with temperatures back around average and possibly some chilly nights. As we go through to Sunday, the high pressure is still dominating, bringing a bit of an easterly wind into the south. That could be quite chilly, possibly dragging in a fair amount of cloud as well. And that continues, excuse me, into the start of next week. The high pressure still keeping it very dry, but the air, fully isobars back, the air is sort of originating from Scandinavia, northeastern parts of Europe. So it's not going to be desperately warm by any means as we go through the weekend and into the start of next week. Then the high pressure sort of sinks down over the country. That could warm it up a little bit, actually, because we cut off that sort of easterly to northeasterly flow. Although I still don't, even there, foresee temperatures going back to the sort of levels that we've got today and tomorrow. Today and tomorrow could well be the peak of the temperatures for the whole of the month. Despite the fact April is normally a dramatically warming month. Now, as we go through into the second half of next week, the high pressure sort of sticks around the country on this run of the GFS, but notice all this blocking up over Greenland and towards Iceland. So, again, it's just the uncertainty about what's happening in the final week of the month. If we take this high pressure into this blocking, then, as I explained on the height anomaly chart, we're going to probably run all these areas of low pressure underneath it into the UK, something like that. But if the high pressure remains in this sort of position over the country, it'll keep these areas of low pressure at bay, so that they won't be able to get in. It could turn significantly more unsettled in the final week of the month, or we could keep this high pressure going. I would say it's about around a 50-50 chance of what's happening. As we go through to the ECMWF for the Saturday the 18th, the high pressure in again, but it's cooler flow coming in from the east or the northeast. As we run through the charts, Sunday the 19th, high pressure is there, as is on Monday the 20th. Gradually sinking down over the country with time, so that'll lift the temperatures up a little bit as we cut off that northerly to northeasterly flow. Then the ECMWF takes the high pressure to the west by Wednesday the 22nd, which starts to bring down cooler air from the northeast again. We end up on day 10, Friday the 24th of April. High pressure still in control, but notice that it's going more up towards Greenland here on this particular run of the ECMWF, which is very much threatening this area of low pressure to come underneath into the UK. So that is sort of going in the direction of taking the high pressure up towards Greenland and allowing that trough of low pressure from the Atlantic to start to push in and turn it significantly wetter for the final week of the month. There would be sort of weather fronts down here to the southwest, very much threatening some heavy rain. Finally, the GEM for Sunday, the 19th, the high pressure is there, although we're bringing down this cool and probably quite cloudy east and northeasterly flow. Go through to start next week, we continue with that easterly. And then the high pressure, again, retrogression taking place here, taking the high pressure from east to west, out into the Atlantic and moving it up towards Greenland through the middle of next week. So by the end of next week, this is how we finish up with the high pressure up there over Greenland, and these areas of low pressure are definitely threatening to move in from south. In fact, we have got some low pressure developing around the country. That will be turning it increasingly unsettled. It's not desperately cold because the coldest air with that blocking is actually going down into the central Atlantic there. That's fueling the low pressure really, but it's not bringing that very cold air or the cool air down across the country, but it is turning it significantly more unsettled there. The GEM could be overdoing the retrogression with the high pressure, but you have to say between the GEM and the ECMWF, which both want to sort of retrogress that high pressure quite a lot and threaten at the very least the Atlantic to come back, you have to say that may be slightly favouring of how things are going to play out for the final week of the month. But there's so much uncertainty within most GFS ensembles, I'm just not sure. So to sum it all up, we're in for a lot of settled weather again through the rest of this week, into the weekend, into the start of next week as well. Temperatures after a very warm start in the south will go back towards normal by the end of this week and stay around average over the weekend and into next week. After that, all eyes are going to be on what we do with this high pressure. I think we'll know in a day or two's time how things are playing out for the last week of the month, but still a lot of uncertainty about that, so continue to watch this space. It's the 5-day forecast tomorrow. We come back to that, and thanks so much for watching. It's been a longer video than normal today because I took the day off yesterday, so I hope you enjoyed the video today, and that's it for now. Thanks for watching.